Hello! Today's episode has been brought to you by my free gift. It's an audiobook called How to Simplify a Conversation. You can grab it at englishmadesimple.net/convo, C-O-N-V-O. Hey amigos y amigas, you're listening to the English Made Simple show. This is episode number 222, number 222, number 222, número 222. Welcome amigos y amigas, so welcome boys and girls, welcome to today's episode of the English Made Simple show. My name is Milena and you can find me at englishmadesimple.net. That rhymes. That does rhyme. You can find me at englishmadesimple.net. Please remember that. And that rhymes too. Okay. And in today's episode, I want to teach you about starting conversations in English. Yes, I'm still on about this. We are still going to talk about conversations. That's the topic for the next few months. Conversations, such a long word to spell, isn't it? It is a nightmare to spell. That's why I like to write it as convo for short, C-O-N-V-O. It's slang for conversation, okay? Convo. And if you go to englishmadesimple.net/convo, you might discover something in there. There's a treasure for you. It's an audiobook about how to simplify a conversation that I prepared just for you to help you start conversations wherever you go, wherever you may roam. If you are new to the show, please go to episode 221, which is the last episode, where I talk about this audiobook in more detail. Okie dokie, so back to today's episode. I'd like to share something with you. I've realized something about me and my husband. I've realized that my husband and I are very different. We are very different. I like to make small talk with strangers, and he doesn't. That's how different we are. So when I go to the supermarket, I always have to say something. I always have to have the last word when I'm talking to the cashier. Like, for example, when I get asked, would you like a receipt? I'd say, nah, just keep it. It's for you. So stupid. Anyway, I'm like Nicolas Cage in that movie, Con Air. You know that movie, Con Air? It's an old movie from the 90s. He always has to say something smart at the end of a scene. I don't know if you realized. Like that famous line that he says about the bunny. So funny. Put the bunny back in the box. Put the bunny back in the box. That's his famous line from the movie. So random, isn't it? So random. But that's what he has to say. I mean, that was in the script. And he has to be the last one to say something at every scene, almost every scene. And you know what? I feel that is exactly like me. So when we go shopping, my husband and I, he lets me talk to the salesperson because he knows what I'm like, and he will look around for something else to do while I'm talking to the salesperson. And I think that maybe because I get too excited when I'm out of the house. I just get too excited and I have to engage in some kind of a conversation. I have to talk to other people, you know. And you guys, all of you who are listening right now, you might be thinking, oh, it's really hard to speak in English. I can't even make small talk with anybody. But imagine one day this will be you. As soon as you feel confident speaking in English, it will be hard for you to stop talking. And then you'll be just talking to everybody. You'll be just like me and Nicolas Cage. Now, let's get straight into today's show, amigos y amigas. Enough of this gibberish. So today's episode, I'm sharing 3 tips with you, 3 techniques, how you could engage in a conversation, how you could start conversation with anybody. What are some of the best ways you can engage in a conversation with someone? It could be a stranger, for example. So let's begin with my 3 tips. I'll share my 3 tips with you right now. Let me look at my notes. Yep, tip number 1. Okay, my tip, all right, so I put here be blunt. Be blunt. Blunt is the word. To be blunt means to be straightforward, to be direct. So basically what I mean by this, keep it simple and just say to somebody, hi, how are you? And then wait. They will ask you, I'm great, thanks, how are you? Very rarely someone would say that they are not great, okay? That's very rarely this happens. I always expect somebody will reply, yeah, I'm good, thanks, how are you? That's the typical reply to this question. Maybe you can make it interesting and say, I'm not really that great, feel really bad. Okay, don't do that, that's silly. So it's a very simple question, how are you? It's very simple and straightforward. Now, if you can spell the word straightforward, I'll give you a Cadbury chocolate as a reward. Because that's 15 letters. Good luck spelling that word. Okay, now on to tip number 2. Tip number 2, how you can start a conversation. What I like to do is pay a compliment to the person that I'm about to talk to. The compliment doesn't mean you're, interested in that person romantically. This is not a dating show, everybody. We are learning English here, okay, amigos? So let's keep it civil, all right? Please don't say anything creepy to someone you had never met. Something creepy would be, you are the most beautiful girl I have ever seen. Please don't say that. It sounds really creepy because, this is a stranger you're talking to. Instead, say something else. Pay a compliment like something about what the person is wearing. Like I usually notice something about their shoes or a watch or something like that. I would say, I love your shoes. Where did you buy them? If it's a girl, obviously. Because boys rarely have good shoes, do they? I don't know. I can't remember. I haven't seen many boys with good shoes. Getting myself distracted. So if it's a boy, you can say something like, oh, that's an interesting watch. Where did you get it from? And if they don't wear a watch, just say, it's an interesting phone. Oh, what is that, the latest blah blah iPhone or whatever? Where did you get it from? What can it do? Does that make sense? Great. When I'm in a supermarket and if I see a shop assistant and I see something interesting about her or him, I will make a comment. I do tend to make a comment. I will say, oh, I love your nail polish. Such an interesting choice of color. If that's if that's a lady serving me, and that's for the ladies who love to do pedicures and manicures, you can compliment their nail polish. Polish is like the color of the nail polish. Right? Does this make sense, amigos y amigas? Cool bananas. Now on to tip number 3. Say something about the weather, okay? Let's state the obvious. Say something about the weather. It never fails. This is an oldie but a goodie. Whenever you feel stuck for words, you'll always have something to say about the weather. You'll never get stuck when it comes to weather. Oh, it's so hot today. It's so obvious. I think everybody will know it's hot today. But you just have to say it. Oh, it's so hot today. I think I said it too many times here in Adelaide. It does get hot in Adelaide in summer. Or when I was in New Zealand, when I lived in New Zealand or Melbourne even, I would say they're quite similar climates there. I'd say, oh, the weather here is so unpredictable. You can have 4 seasons in one day. This line never gets old. I use it all the time. It's true, people will agree with you about the weather, and then it's easy for you to either continue the conversation or you can choose to say goodbye if they seem uninterested. So yes, the weather will save you in any conversation. I'm going to share an interesting fact with you, amigos y amigas. An interesting fact. Next time you chat with someone, It could be your family members, not just, strangers that you meet. Pay attention to the pattern of how each conversation ends. I bet that 99% of the time, every time you're about to end a conversation, it will involve some kind of a chat about the weather. Almost every time. When I talk to my mom, I'd say, "So, how's the weather over there in New Zealand?" She lives in New Zealand, by the way. And then she would ask me about Adelaide. She has this assumption that it's always over 40 degrees Celsius in Adelaide. Well, it's half true. She's half right. Only in summer it gets over 40, but most of the time it's actually a lovely weather in Adelaide. And how's the weather over there where you guys live? How's the weather there? Is it sunny, rainy, hot and dry, or hot and humid? How's the weather there? Ha! And this brings us to the end of today's show. As you can see, every time there's a talk about the weather, the conversation is about to end. While it can be used to start or end conversations, you can use the topic of weather. Depends on you and the person you're talking to. And that's about it, amigos y amigas. Thanks for joining me today, amigos y amigas. Hope you enjoyed today's episode about starting conversations and ending conversations. I go into a bit more detail in my audiobook called How to Simplify a Conversation. Go to englishmadesimple.net/convo. Let me spell that properly for you. Convo is spelled as C for cat, O for Oscar, N for November, V for Victor, and O for Oscar. Convo. That's it. Easy peasy Japanesey. Thanks for listening. You've been an awesome audience, amigos y amigas. You've been jamming with Milena from English Made Simple. Until next time, hasta la próxima.